Hey guys, time for another Math Easy solution. The NBA is in full swing, and I wanted to talk today about the in-season tournament and how it works. I know a lot of people are confused about it, especially because this is the first year that they started it. So I'm going to break it down today, make it very simple for you guys in this quick video. So first, let's start off with the groups. There's 3 groups of 5 teams in the West and 3 groups of 5 teams in the East. These are the groups over here. Groups are selected based on the previous year's regular season records. I'm going to go over this at the end of the video after the conclusion to really explain it for you guys, okay? So first, let's start off with the group play. Each team plays the teams in their group one time, twice at home and twice on the road. These games count towards the regular season records, okay? So they do count. Group play games are played on Tuesdays and Fridays in November. So when you see the floors being all different color and whatnot, that's on Tuesdays and Fridays to represent that they're in-season tournament games. So the top seed in each group will advance to the knockout rounds. So there's 6 leaders of the top seeds. There's also going to be 2 additional ones. The wildcards are also going to advance to the knockout round. The team from each conference with the best record that finished second in its group will move on to the next round. The 22 teams that didn't advance, they'll play 2 regular season games on December 6th and December 8th. The NBA, they made some type of formula to determine which teams will play out of those, but I'm not going to go over that in this video. There's also tiebreakers, so if teams are tied in the standings for the group play, there are going to be tiebreakers. I'm going to go over that at the end of the video as well, okay? So let's talk about the knockout rounds. So first is the quarterfinals. Games are played on December 4th and December 5th. The top seed in each conference of the group play will play the wildcard teams of their respective conferences. The games will be played at the top seed's arena. The other 2 games will be played by the other 2 group play leaders, so the top seeds in their groups. The teams with the better records will also play at home. These games, just like the previous round in the group play, will count for the regular season standings. The losing teams of the same conference will play each other on Friday, December 8th. And then 5th to 8th place get $50,000 per player. So there is a financial incentive to do well in the in-season tournament. So after that is the semifinals. The semifinals are played on December 7th in Las Vegas. So they're calling it a neutral site. So those teams go to Las Vegas to play in the semifinals. They count for the regular season standings as well. The 3rd and 4th place get $100,000 each player, okay? Then after that is the finals. The finals are also played in Las Vegas on December 9th. This final game does not count for the regular season standings. All the other in-season tournament games did count except for the finals, guys. Remember that. First place gets $500,000 each player. Second place gets $200,000. So you can see there's a substantial financial incentive for players to actually do well in the in-season tournament. Plus, you get a trophy and whatever like that. So let me just go over the conclusion here. So really quickly, the in-season tournament group stage happens on Tuesdays and Fridays in November. There are 3 groups of 5 teams for each conference. Each team plays the other teams in their group one time, and the top seed of each group advances to the knockout rounds. 2 additional wildcard teams also advance. These teams were not the top seed in their group, but they had the most wins out of the teams that were not the top seeds. The 8 teams that advance play a single knockout game, with the semifinals and finals played at the neutral site of Las Vegas. Okay, I hope that's simple enough. I tried to make it short for you guys, but right now I'm going to go over a couple extra things. First of all is the tiebreaker, right? So firstly, it's the head-to-head record in the group stage. That's the first tiebreaker. And then if those are tied, it's going to be points differential in the group stage, and then points total scored in the group stage. And then after that, if they're all tied, it's the regular season record of the previous year. And then it's going to be a random draw, which is very unlikely, okay? So now what I wanted to do is talk about how did they choose the groups, right, in the group stage. So this is kind of interesting. The NBA, they created 5 different pots, they call it. They randomly chose a team from each pot to get to the groups. So they did this separately for each conference, okay? So here's how it works. Pot 1, they took teams that were the top 3 in the previous season in their conference. Then they took the 4th through 6th, and then 7th through 9th, and whatever like that. So you can read a little bit more about it here, but what I did is I made an example down here. So they created a pot, and they put the top 3 seeds there. This is Milwaukee, Boston, and Philadelphia. Then they selected one of these randomly to be in Group A, for example. And then they took pot 2, which is the 4th to 6th best record in the previous season. And then they put those in this group, and then they randomly picked one from there. So I color-coded it here for you. So these are the actual groups for this season in the Eastern Conference. So you can see out of these 3, they picked randomly this one here. And then these randomly, New York matched up with Milwaukee, Miami, Washington, and Charlotte, which gave you that group there. And then the yellow ones, and then the orange ones. The same thing they did for the Western Conference. So that's how they determine the groups in the in-season tournament. So I'm really excited for it. I think it's a good idea to bring some hype because I think in the regular season it gets kind of boring. What about you guys? What do you think? And I hope this was really simple for you guys. Leave a comment if you're confused about anything, and I'll answer them as quickly as I can. Thanks again, and have a good one.